Palm Beach.
A live report on the contract talks is just moments away.
A crash involving a police cruiser leaves a Philadelphia officer injured.
And there's a mix of good and bad news that will affect a whole lot of workers at the Boeing plant in Delaware County.
Good morning. I'm Chris Carden in for Amy Caples.
I'm Brendan Brooks. We'll have those stories, plus help for stroke patients and others who have suffered brain injuries, and Philadelphia Public League basketball. It's a good thing, and we'll show you in our Philadelphia Tribune segment coming up.
But right now, let's turn to meteorologist Rick Barr for a preview of KYW Storm Center forecast. Good morning, Rick.
Morning, guys. Well, the weather is not a good thing this morning. We've got rain, we've got flooding to talk about, and yes, even some of the white stuff later on today. So look for some rains. The heavy rain really much, for the most part, have ended. Temperatures will average only about 40 to 45 degrees today. But later on today, things get very interesting as some cold air begins to mix into the picture. Winter weather advisories in effect for Lehigh, Northampton, as well as Berks County. We may even see a little bit of snow here as well. We'll have details on that very complicated forecast coming up shortly. In the meantime, it's very messy out there. Let's see how the weather is affecting traffic on this wet Saturday morning. Let's check in with Ann Evans, who's back in the traffic center for the latest. Good morning, Ann.
Good morning, Rick. Messy is the word. Wet roads out there. Reduced speeds, visibility, plenty of accidents. Now, police are reporting some slippery spots north and west of the city, so be careful. You're looking at the Schuylkill at Vine. No problems there. Traffic moving quite smoothly. Just be careful. Now, on to our maps this morning. There you go. I-95 southbound between Woodhaven Road and Academy Road, the first of many accidents there. Also on I-95, more problems right near Girard, flooding conditions. Watch out for flooding conditions at any time on the area roadways. New Jersey Turnpike, a motorcycle and carpool trailer ban in effect the entire length of the turnpike. Moving on now to 422 eastbound east of Royersford, there's an accident. Now, Chris and Brandon, back to you.
Thank you, Ann. In the news this Saturday morning, by bus, by train, and by trolley, SEPTA is at your service this morning. But for how long? That's the question, as those contract negotiations just drag on and on. Eyewitness News was at SEPTA's Frankfort terminal this morning. Buses were running and commuters were making use of SEPTA service early today. As you can see, it's all systems go there this morning, but there's no word on how long the system will keep running.
Well, SEPTA and the union are trying to hammer out a deal.
Eyewitness News is at the site of the negotiations. We have the latest now in a live report.
I'm Colette Cassidy, live at the Wyndham Franklin Plaza Hotel, where negotiations are expected sometime today between SEPTA management and union officials. The union, meanwhile, also plans to call a meeting of its strike captains at union headquarters later this afternoon also. So right now, there's no strike expected today or tomorrow, but we don't know what could happen through the week, so we may be facing yet another week in this SEPTA stalemate. It was 1 week ago today when riders were first threatened with the thought of all these buses and trolleys coming to a grinding halt. SEPTA management and union officials have spent 1 week at the negotiating table, but still haven't reached a contract, yet there's still no word of a strike. The week ended with reports that the National AFL-CIO had sent the Democratic National Committee a letter urging them not to use Philadelphia as the site of the next convention if SEPTA used scab employees to work during the strike.
Desperate people do desperate things. There is no plan to use scab employees to operate the system. I share the anger of the people of southeastern Pennsylvania at a union that has once again demonstrated its fundamental anti-rider, anti-citizen position. Their major interest here is to line their own pockets, to protect abusers of workers' compensation rules, to protect the minority of the workforce that does not show up at work, to protect drug and alcohol abusers, and they will resort to not telling the truth.
The comments of the mayor in particular are being received with anger. Our members have been through contract negotiations before. They have good judgment. They are intelligent people. They know how to evaluate whether a contract offer is a good one or not. And this offer on the table now is being uniformly condemned.
The union's business manager there, Bruce Bodner, referring to the mayor's comments this week. Mayor Rendell urging the union to take this contract, to take this deal, that it was a good contract for the majority of its more than 5,000 members. Well, the union says today the issue it is looking at is the cost of all of this, the framework that SEPTA is proposing, and that today they will look at each proposal and see what it will cost SEPTA and what it will also cost the union. Reporting live, I'm Colette Cassidy, Eyewitness News. Brandon, Chris?
Thank you,
All right.
Colette.
Thank you, Colette.
And stay with Eyewitness News for the latest on the tense SEPTA contract talks. We'll have continuing coverage throughout the day with live reports whenever the situation warrants.
In other news, a New Jersey state trooper and a motorist are recovering after both were struck by a car. Eyewitness News on Route 42 in Gloucester Township, Camden County last night. It happened along Route 42 in Camden County. A trooper from the Belmar Barracks was apparently assisting the motorist when both were struck. No word on the extent of their injuries. A police officer was involved in a three-car crash in South Philadelphia. It happened just after midnight. Eyewitness News on the scene at 22nd and Snyder, where a patrol unit and other two vehicles were colliding. The police cruiser ended up on the sidewalk against the wall of a row house. The officer and at least one other person were hurt. Police do not have any other details. New regulations regarding Megan's Law. Notifications allow schools to send sex offender warning notices home with school children. Attorney General Peter Venero says the papers must be in sealed envelopes and include a form for parents or guardians to sign. The new guidelines, which were released yesterday, also allow schools to directly inform high school students of released high-risk sex offenders who have moved into their neighborhoods.
Police in Delaware are investigating an alleged jailhouse plot by Tom Capano to discourage his longtime lover from testifying against him in the murder of Anne Marie Fahey. Eyewitness News reporter Walt Hunter has the inside story.
Capano's admitted mistress, Deborah McIntyre, seen here at her first meeting with prosecutors in February, has told police she purchased the gun Wilmington attorney Tom Capano allegedly used to kill Anne Marie Fahey in June 1996. And McIntyre has corroborated testimony by Capano's brother Jerry that the suspect used this boat to dump the victim's body in the Atlantic off Stone Harbor, New Jersey. Now, sources say, investigators are looking into whether Capano attempted to get revenge or perhaps stop McIntyre from providing any more information. Sources say the investigation centers on a conversation Capano allegedly had behind bars at Gander Hill Prison, a conversation in which Capano allegedly attempted to hire a criminal to burglarize McIntyre's home. And during that burglary, the home would be heavily damaged. But nothing ever happened to McIntyre's Wilmington home, sources say, because investigators were notified. An investigation started. And sources say Capano could face charges of allegedly attempting to intimidate a witness. Repeated efforts to reach Capano's attorneys for comment have been unsuccessful. Meanwhile, no charges have been filed against Capano in connection with this investigation, and there's no indication that McIntyre will stop in her efforts to provide the prosecution with additional information. At Gander Hill Prison in Wilmington, Walt Hunter, Eyewitness News.
Tough times ahead for hundreds of workers at the Boeing plant in Delaware County. Eyewitness News was in Ridley Township, where officials announced as many as 1,000 people will lose their jobs at the Boeing plant. That's in addition to 200 layoffs last week. There was talk the plant would close altogether. 6 weeks ago, Boeing officials were considering moving the work to Arizona. But after political maneuvering and some tax breaks, Boeing decided to keep the plant in Ridley Township.
I feel great. I feel a lot better than I did yesterday.
I thought it would be a little bit even more layoffs than they're talking about.
I don't think we want a war. I think we just want a little skirmish, and I believe we have a tough fight ahead of us.
Union and company officials are scheduled to meet on Monday to figure out when the layoffs will begin. The job loss is part of a nationwide cutback of 8,200 jobs at Boeing.
Well, what a week on Wall Street. For 5 straight days, records were set, and yesterday was no exception. Dow Jones Industrials gaining more than 100 points to close for the first time above 8,900. The final number was 8906.43. This week alone, the Dow gained 304 points.
Coming up.
A popular entertainer from the 70s is singing for joy today as he celebrates a legal victory.
And here's something that parents may not want to hear, but some music may actually improve your child's performance in school.
It's all straight ahead on Eyewitness News.
To celebrate spring, your Honda dealer is offering 3.9%.
Well, the Northeast will be hit hard by the storm system that caused deadly severe storms in the Southeast yesterday. Good morning, I'm Rick Griffin, and welcome to Weather Center.
And I'm Will Annan. Today you're going to be seeing some snow, freezing rain, and rain across much of the region. We're going to have an on-location report in just a minute or so, but first a few details on our northeastern storm. Let's show you what's going on. Here's a look at our satellite picture this morning, and you can see all the clouds beginning to roll their way on towards the north and northeast. Overnight, heavy rainfall, south central, southeastern Pennsylvania, especially in York and Lancaster counties. Flooding is still going on there. Another heavy lobe of rainfall moving across New Jersey, heading right now right towards metro New York City. So you will be looking at a batch of rainfall there that could be on the heavy side. Our storm system, rather complex one at the present time, but take a look at those cool northeasterly winds coming in from the Gulf of Maine. That'll help stabilize the temperatures right around the freezing mark for places like Syracuse, New York, and also right around Albany. So the snow has begun in those areas right now. It looks like it will continue as you look at temperatures right around 31 in Albany, 30 degrees in Rochester, and 32 degrees in Boston. Not bad there until you figure in some of the wind chills. And again, with those stiff easterly winds, the wind chill goes down to 7 in Boston, 9 below in Bangor, 8 below in Caribou. But up close and personal, let's show you what's going on. We can show you the New York State Thruway right here, Interstate 90 from Albany to Syracuse to Rochester. Speaking of Syracuse, there is snow coming down right now, and standing by in Syracuse is Kristen Dowd, who made a liar out of me the last time. I said, well, it looks like a little bit of snow mixing with some rain. Looks like a lot more snow now.
Well, you are right, Will. Plenty of snowfall just in the past hour, and even though we did have some light rain overnight that helped warm up the surface temperatures, the snow is now sticking not only to the grassy surfaces here off to my left, but also you can see out on the roadways as we are looking at Interstate 81, which runs through Syracuse. Traveling early this morning, still not too bad, but we're seeing kind of a heavy wet snow coming down pretty hard, and we can see a plow that is now coming on through, helping to clear out some of the exit ramps. So hopefully they can keep up with the heavy snow as it's coming down through this morning. Now if we can go ahead and take a look at our tower cam, you can see how off in the distance you can really not see, I should say, Syracuse, as the skyline is pretty much marred by a lot of low clouds and that snow that's coming down. That's expected to be the case throughout the day. The snow will come down pretty heavy this morning, and throughout the day we could see anywhere from 4 to 7 inches as we are under a winter storm warning here in central New York. Will, back to you.
Thanks a lot, Kristen Dodd. We'll get back to you again in about another half hour. Complete reports all day long from Syracuse, New York. Let's show you what else is happening. We're watching for all that moisture beginning to advance its way northward, looking at winter storm warnings now as far north as west central and northwestern Maine right through this evening. The heavy rain that was belting Philadelphia earlier on, now moving across New Jersey, heading towards New York City and back towards the west. Well, here comes the snow back into western Ohio and much of eastern Indiana. Light snow into northern parts of Kentucky as well. But again, it looks like the main swath of snow, heavier band of snow, will be across, looks like much of New York State, especially right along the New York State Thruway. So travelers there, do beware. It's going to really pile up from about this point on. Let's look at a northeastern storm, rain and snow. Let's check on the south and the Midwest right now with Rick Griffin.
Thanks a lot, Will. It will be a chilly weekend for many of you in the eastern half of the country as below average temperatures move in behind the storm system that has disrupted this region much of the week. In fact, let's go to the southern regional temperature map. We see cool weather in Jacksonville, Panama City, Atlanta, Georgia, 37 this morning. Up the road in Rome, Georgia, it's 36. And at Rome, Georgia, which is about 55 miles northwest of Atlanta, snow flurries in the air this morning. The wind chills, 21 Birmingham, 21 in Atlanta, 31 is how it feels with the wind temperature combination this morning. Panama City, and it's chilly due to the breeze in Jacksonville, as well as Charleston, West Virginia, Houston, Texas. Your wind chill 37. Dallas, the wind chill right now 22. Here's your infrared satellite picture, and what it shows is a lot of fair weather. Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, where the sun will shine brightly today. Most of Arkansas and Louisiana, you'll have plenty of sun too. But also notice some low cloudiness. You can just barely make out the outline of a low bank of clouds from panhandle of Florida northward through Tennessee. And from this cloud cover, there is a little bit of light precipitation, particularly from extreme northwest Georgia, the Blue Ridge Mountain chain up to the Cumberland Plateau of Tennessee, and the western mountains of North Carolina. In fact, we think just during the last couple of hours there may have been an inch or two of accumulation up here in Ashe and Avery counties and around Mount Mitchell in western North Carolina as a pocket of moderately heavy snowfall has moved through the mountainous sections of western North Carolina and East Tennessee. A few flakes of snow in the air northwest of Atlanta. Absolutely no accumulation expected, but a little wintry here on the first full day of spring in the south. Midwest is quiet. We confirm that with the